What's up, dreamers? So I am going to do a bit of a story time where I'm going to get into exactly how I got this eye injury. You can see it there. Shouldn't be too hard to see. And it's going to be more of like a chill, relaxed type video. Just again, a story time between me and you guys. So, if you want to support this video, leave a like on it. Comment some things that you want to say, or if you have any questions or anything to clarify, leave that in the comment section down below. And subscribe to the channel for more content moving forward. But let's get right into the story. So this started as if it was, any other day at work. Just going in, thought I was cooling, thought I was chilling. And for those of you that don't know what I do, I have three jobs. One of my jobs is as a family navigator, where I help families in the impoverished area of North End of Hartford navigate the resources that are available to them in the Hartford community, whether it's help with them getting housing or help with them finding basic needs, food, clothing, whatever it may be. Social work, to abbreviate everything into a simple phrase, right? The other job that I have is at a juvenile rehabilitation center, I guess you will. It's a lot more laxed and less, chaotic than like most systems that you would see in place for disturbed children. And it's very, very therapeutic. It's actually called a therapeutic milieu, and we serve kids that are between the ages of 7 all the way up to 12. And so in this particular work, oh, and my third job is just at FedEx, moving boxes around and stuff. But that's nothing to be dealt with here. So I was at job number 2 when this incident happened, and essentially what was happening was that went into work, was having a relatively normal day, and as it happens with a lot of these kids, one of the older kids got very, very escalated after an incident that happened in the gym. Everybody was playing around, having a great time. And this kid, again, won't name names, not only for HIPAA violations, but just for the sake of my job. This kid, I'll refer to him in the rest of the video, got very, very escalated and smashed one of the staff's radio players. And the kids aren't allowed to have much at this facility for their own safety and also just to follow the guidelines of the facility. The kids are only really allowed to have special items when they're doing really, really well, or if it's a part of their personal action plans. But this kid doesn't get much because of his constant outbursts and outrages. So he smashes this radio that belongs to one of the other staff, and that prompts the staff to gather all the kids and say, we're gonna leave the gym, we're gonna go inside. And this kid actually has a history of assaulting and targeting female staff, because it's much harder for them, and I won't get into that and try to get canceled, but it's much harder for them to fully deal with him because of his stature. He's about like 5'6", even though he's 12, and relatively strong kid. But for us male staff, it's not that big of an issue. Of course, we're not allowed to beat these kids up or hit them in any way. The only thing that we are allowed to do is to physically restrain them in a very, very particular way, which, if done incorrectly, can lead to us losing our jobs. But with all that aside, the two female staff that I was with took the 5 or 6 kids aside from this kid and brought them away and left him isolated, which infuriated him even more. So this kid started to go off on how he thought that staff were blaming him for everything, and how we all were targeting him, and that we all thought it was his fault. And using some of the verbal de-escalation techniques that I learned not only in my training but just throughout my own life, I was able to talk through with this kid exactly how he was feeling. And very, very quickly I realized that he wasn't in the right frame of mind to really respond in a way, or to really understand what it was that I was telling him. So I did what any adult would do in that situation, and I just gave up on trying with him. Just stayed quiet, followed him around so that he wouldn't go running off and try to hop the fence and get out into the community, or do something crazy, harm himself. A lot of the things that we see that these kids do when they are escalated to that level. So moving forward, we finally get to a point where he's ready to go inside, and I know this because he physically walks to the door of the building. He wants to go inside, but he's not ready to rejoin the group, because this incident originally started because he was a part of the group and he felt that some of the kids were being unfair with some of the items that are available in the gym. And you could still tell that he was very, very tense, angst, and just angry. But he was a lot more quiet and a lot less shouty. So I let him into the building using my badge, scanned him in. He walks in and he's just pacing the hallway. And again, I'm not trying to force this kid to be in any situation where I'm going to be putting other kids at harm, putting other staff at harm. And in this instant, I was the only male staff available, and I didn't want to be putting my female companions in any great jeopardy. If he's going to beat on anybody, might as well be me, and at least I can handle him and try to get him into that physical restraint, and I won't be like, putting myself at any risk. And of course, I can take a punch. I grew up in an environment where fighting was a part of the daily training regimen. Okay, so I can take a hit if I need to, and I can get him down and put him down and talk him through whatever I need to talk him through. So we're in the hallway, and we're standing there. My hands are in my pocket because, of course, I'm an overconfident douchebag. And here's where the scene arrives where I get this injury, where this happens. So I'm leaning on the wall, kind of like this. I'll push back a little bit. Leaning on the wall like this, just chilling. He's walking back and forth, saying how all of the staff are against him, how everyone hates him. And so I'm just like, blank in place of his name. No one hates you. Nobody's talking about you like that. And he starts to get really amped up. He's like, shut up. I don't want you near me. Yada, yada, yada. And I was like, well, I'm not going to bring one of the female staff because I already know how you enjoy taking advantage of your, physical superiority over them. And so as he's walking by me, he's pacing back and forth in the hallway, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm letting him because that's how boys do. We need to hit something. We need to get our anger out, or we need to do some physical activity. He walks by me. Again, my hands are in my pockets. I'm nonchalantly just trying to talk this kid through this. And something just snaps. The kid just, wow, just cracks my shit, bro. Just goes off. Just bang, socks me right in the eye, right? Now, again, I have reflexes. I've fought. I don't care if I'm dazed. I don't care if I'm on the verge of being knocked out. I'm going to go on the offensive. But I also know that this is a kid, 12 years old. I'm not gonna attack him, go off and on some massive, tirade, lose my job over some idiotic BS that this kid's going through that he can't even fully articulate because he's so young. So I go to put him into a restraint, but this kid knows me. This kid is actually, and I hate to say it, he's actually kind of afraid of me, right? So he hits me, and he's a genius. The kid's smart. I gotta give him his props. We're not allowed to place children in physical restraints if they're on the floor, only if they're standing and they're posing a threat in that very moment. Now, the moment after he hits me, still poses a threat because he might follow up with a little bit more, So I go to put him in a hold, and before I could even reach my hands out, this kid sprawls to the floor, throws his hands up in the air, and starts to scream. And I'm like, oh, shit, man. God damn. So, yeah, I sort of just had to take a step back. I did have like maybe a little minor tussle with him as he was going down because he hit me and immediately went to drop back onto the floor. And as he was falling, I tried to grab him, but again, this is a 5'6", like 140-pound kid, and I'm not gonna be able to just like grab him by his collar or anything. All of that is against the policies of the company, grounds for termination, immediate termination. And when I say there are cameras everywhere in these facilities, I think on each floor there's at least 9 cameras on each floor. And these aren't massive mansion buildings. Like these are probably like each floor is apartment sized relatively, depending on the floor that you're on. So, there's at least 9 cameras that cover cover every single angle. And I'm not gonna risk that, It's just a per diem job that I have, but at the end of the day, I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get reported to anybody for assaulting children or any of that. So he's on the floor, he's kicking and screaming, "Get away from me! I don't want you near me! I didn't want to hit you! I didn't want to hit you! Please don't hurt me!" Yada yada yada. And as it is per the nature of the job, I sort of just had to, all right, take a step back. And honestly, I didn't even know that it had gotten to this level until the one of the nurses heard him screaming and hollering at the top of his lungs and came out. And she hadn't even noticed either. She was talking to him at first, asking what's going on, and then she got my perspective, and then she was like, "What happened to your eye?" And I'm there like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And so she gets her phone out, takes a few pictures, and shows me, and I see that massive blotch of red on my pupil, or not my pupil, but on the area surrounding my pupil. No swelling, no anything, just the blotch of red, and I do the natural protocols, which is like calling the company number or whatever, and they tell me to go out to an urgent care and get assessed and everything. But yeah, that's that's the story of the struggle of trying to build helping people out into your everyday life. Is you're gonna deal with some people that are really troubled, and it's going to have an effect. But do I regret the line of work? Absolutely not. Do I regret doing what I do? Absolutely not. But trust me, trust me. I got something for him. I got something for him. But I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, until the next video, Dreamers.